Hello and welcome back to LFC Transfer Room. We are back again today and we're going to be talking about the Everton game yesterday. Obviously, 0-0 draw. Still lots of disappointment to talk about from that game. And then another big talking point in a minute, the Champions League squad. Naby Keita not in the squad. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain not in the squad. So we can go through that. But today I'm joined by Dan and Damon. Dan, first of all, back from vacation. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. As you guys can tell, I finally have my mic back on, a decent camera, this decent background. Everything is all good and ready to roll. So I cannot wait to get started. How you doing, Owen?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. Yeah, all good. Damo, I know you're probably gonna have a lot of disappointment. You want to get out today. But yeah, how are you feeling after yesterday's performance?
A bit down. No, not down. I won't say down. A bit like morbid at the moment with Liverpool at the moment. It's a bit difficult to really get excited at the moment because they're just not playing as we're used to seeing them the last few years. And it was expected for me personally, but Champions League midweek, so let's bounce back hopefully.
Yeah, that is true. Napoli, we play on Wednesday. Napoli away. It's been a bit of a curse for us in seasons gone by, but I will read out the squad now that we have selected for the Champions League, and we'll be travelling, I believe. Alisson Becker, no surprise there. Adrian, Kevin Keller, he hasn't played a game yet this season, so it's a bit of a mystery what's going on with him, but good season squad. Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahim Konate, Kostas Tsimikas, Calvin Ramsey, Andrew Robertson, Joel Matip, Nathaniel Phillips, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho, Thiago, James Milner, Jordan Henderson, Fabio Carvalho, Artur, Stefan Bajcetic, Roberto Firmino, Mohamed Salah, Diogo Jota, Luis Diaz, and Darwin Nunez. Dan, when you read out, that's a pretty good squad in my opinion. Surely we should go on and have a good Champions League campaign with that. No set of players. There's no reason why we can't go and have a good, successful year, surely.
Absolutely. I mean, we're back and running, man. I mean, we're ready to go. This is the team that we need. The only thing that really worries me is probably how well the players that just came back from fitness from injuries are doing. I mean, the likes of Diogo Jota, even though he came back for the Everton game, he wasn't as sharp. You're looking at the likes of Thiago. We don't even know if he's going to start or not. I mean, he was out for a pretty lengthy time. Arthur hasn't even played as much in Italy, and then he's finally back. He needs to adjust. All these things. I mean, it's even though on paper it's looking pretty promising. These players haven't really played as much together in the first team. So it wouldn't surprise me, one, to see them underperform, or two, to not even see them in the starting lineup because, like I said, they've been injured. So I'm not as excited to see what's going to happen, but I'm definitely excited to see them back in the team sheet for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you raised there because Diogo Jota, we saw him return, but he hasn't even had a pre-season, has he? Yeah, evening, guys, and everyone in the chat now, make sure you do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps absolutely massively. So thank you for leaving a comment. But yeah, look, Diogo Jota, he made his return yesterday, but yeah, he hasn't had a pre-season, has he? He's been out the whole time. So yeah, you can't expect him to come in straight away and be at it. I know in an ideal world, we all would love that, but yeah, it doesn't quite work like that. And then you've even got Joel Matip, who's been out for a long period of time. I think I'm missing even more players there, and players who haven't even returned yet. Like, wow, Curtis Jones is sort of back. He wasn't in the squad, but he was previously in the Newcastle game, but he wasn't for the Everton game. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. And then Thiago meant to be training tomorrow, so there's lots of uncertainty. But with these players returning, Damon, surely that's like a positive now. And can help us build some momentum going forwards.
Well, we've missed them, haven't we? We've missed them because when we're relying on, we need goals. You know, people like Jota, they're so important for our game because the amount of goals he scores, what was it, 16 goals last season in the Premier League, something like 16, 15 goals in the Premier League. You can't replace that sometimes. And if Nunez is not firing, then we need him to come on. Bobby Firmino's actually done all right last couple of games, to be fair to him. But I think that will drop off because Firmino is not used to scoring and he's not the one that rely on to get goals. And when Salah's not hitting right, we do need Jota to come back because without goals we don't win games, as Michael Owen says. You know what I'm saying? these people that are coming back are so important. And we saw yesterday Jota came back, but he wasn't himself, like you said. He wasn't. He made the runs. I think I did play ratings. I said he made the runs, but he just lacked something. I don't know what it was. He just lacked sort of. It'd be that match fit. It'd be that match fitness. That's what it'd be in that sort of experience of being in the right place and finishing the chances really, because he normally is the person to do that. And yesterday we just saw half of the play that we used to see with him. I think it's important to get these bled back into the team quickly rather than taking games at a time. I think we need to get them in quickly because we're already playing catch up, and we shouldn't be doing that at this stage of the season.
Yeah, to be fair, if they're available and not carrying that injury anymore, then the only way they're going to get match fitness is by playing games. That is true. So definitely. But I want to mention actually, because there's been a lot of sort of not division in the fan base, but people discussing. Rival fans in the past have kind of laughed at him for his performances. Darwin Nunez, I thought he was all right against Everton. He was kind of out of the game, and you can see he's still adapting to the system. But Dan, what did you make of his performance? And do you think he's offering a lot to Liverpool at the minute, or is there kind of something not clicking?
I'm completely happy with what I'm seeing. I mean, the only thing that is not there is the end product, and not even there has been some unlucky things for him. I mean, that if you remember that the one that was it a Trent pass that he got from his chest and he hit like a half volley. Pickford saved that. I mean, in a normal day, that would have been a goal. He's doing incredibly well. I'm from the Newcastle game. I'm completely happy. Previous games, I'm happy. I'm starting to see better positioning, better adjusting, a lot of things that I'm really happy with him. It's going to be a matter of weeks until we see something really, really good happening. I think he's doing great. One thing, the only difference between him and Luis Diaz when he came back when Luis Diaz came in January is that they both had end product issues when they barely came in. The only difference is that Luis Diaz was really good cutting inside, dribbling players in here and there, so people were fascinated by what they were seeing. While Darwin Nunez, on the other hand, he's not that type of player. He's more of a more straightforward, strong, get the ball, shoot it. So people will say that he's struggling, that the league is not for him and whatnot. But I feel like we're going to see the same thing that we saw with Luis Diaz, which is give it a few more weeks. He's going to be incredible for us. In a matter of time, he's going to be our regular starter, and nobody's going to be judging him. I'm happy with him.
Tim, do you agree that it's too early to? I know obviously he's only played 3-4 games for us, but you can still kind of get an indication from a player when they've played that sort of amount of games and those minutes, like how good they're going to be for the club. And Mohamed Salah as well. When you look at him, how he's performing now, is it a worry going forward? The fact that he's not scoring the goals for us, and neither is Nunez.
I wouldn't say it was worry because just of the options we've got. I mean, like I said earlier about Diego Jota coming back and Bobby Firmino actually firing, I think they might keep them on the toes, which is really good. And Nunez, regarding Nunez, he's getting into the right positions, which I'm happy with, because as a striker, he's not hiding. Some strikers, Werner at Chelsea at times, you could see he was lack of confidence, but Nunez ain't got lack of confidence of shooting. He's not scared to shoot, and yesterday he was unlucky not to score because a brilliant save from Pickford. Just had a brilliant game yesterday. He got to hold the hands up to it sometimes. And going back to Salah, I don't know what's up with Salah. The last couple of games, he's just not himself. I don't know if he's being put out wide further because of Nunez coming in. I think that could be an issue. I think that's down to Klopp. Then I think Klopp needs to start getting involved inside rather than going out too wide, because when Firmino plays, you saw Salah sort of drifting inside a little bit more. Well done, Jen. Thank you so much for that. That's
8.99. That is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. We love that. Jen, we love you.
Can you add to the Liverpool transfer budget, please? Because we ain't got any. I mean, that's probably more than what we spent in the transfer window, if I'm honest. To be honest. But yeah, regarding Salah, I think he's playing too wide at the moment with Nunez coming in. I think when Firmino came on, you saw Salah sort of come inside a little bit more, and we need that more often. I think we need that with Nunez. I think that's down to Klopp. And I think Klopp needs to really look at Nunez and Diaz and Salah as a free and play more centrally than wide, because wide Salah's not a threat. as you know, the Salah that we used to see. And he's a threat when he attacks that edge of that box and he kills a shot in, you know, top corner or something like that. And that's when it's a threat. He wins penalties and he wins fouls on the edge of the box. And we can't do that when it's so wide. That's down to Klopp. I think Klopp needs to have a really look at it in the next couple of weeks now.
And Damon, I know that you're talking about Mo the most, but do you agree with him? Do you agree with this? It says that Darwin will try to shoot from anywhere. He doesn't really care for where the ball is. Is this really an issue? Do we think?
I like the confidence. But he does need to sort of sit back and say, you know, when do I shoot and when do I pass? I think with Diaz as well, I think he shoots too late. Diaz always cuts inside and he takes another touch too far every time. It's like shoot. You want him to shoot, and he goes to the middle of the box sort of thing. It's like just have a crack. You know, some of the shots he's done are unbelievable. They've either gone in or at the post or something, and it's taking too long. I think that's what comes down to Nunez as well. It's either he's not taking long enough, which is the opposite of Diaz, which is funny enough. But yeah, I agree with that. As Nunez is taking shots too often when he shouldn't. I like the confidence sort of thing. You know, you're a striker, you want to score, don't you? But sometimes you got. I think that comes with age, though. He's only a young lad. You got to remember that. So yeah, experience will come.
On the other hand, you could argue that he's kind of getting a bit isolated. There's no one really around him when he's getting the ball in those positions. Like there's literally no one there with him. It's even Salah. He's like kind of making the run, and then he's always getting marked by 2-3 players.
It's the wideness of the wingers, isn't it? It's the wideness of the wingers because they're so wide. It leaves Nunez on his own in the middle, and if Elliott isn't pushing forward, then he is literally isolated. That's all you can do, and we can't really rely on Elliott to do that because he's only a young lad and he's still learning himself.
Yeah, I was noticing that as well in the Everton game where we kind of got the ball, Trent, Salah out on the wide areas, cross the ball, and it's a really good ball from Trent, but it's kind of like in between two players. I would have liked to see Harvey Elliott get in the box a little bit more. Same with Fabio Carvalho, Dan. They were a little bit underwhelming, weren't they? Considering we've been hyping them up for all this time. And I think when you look at the midfield, Fabinho, Carvalho, Elliott, it's two attacking midfielders and a defensive midfielder. Some were a bit hesitant about that. But when you look at it, Man City play the exact same way. They play with Rodri, De Bruyne, and then Bernardo Silva. So it definitely has potential to work, doesn't it?
I mean, heck, I was going to say that that it's all about a matter of time until Fabio Carvalho gets used to the defensive approach and whatnot. But I mean, Owen, you actually have a point. I mean, Man City do play like this. They only have one solid defensive midfielder, and then they have two creative midfielders that don't really defend. You know, I mean, I was actually going to try and excuse Klopp in this, but I mean, you do have a point. There shouldn't really be an issue with playing two more offensive midfielders next to Fabinho because we've seen people do it. Man City is an example. One thing I would say though, it seems like Harvey Elliott is getting way better with his defensive ability and pressure ability. I was watching one of a video the other day, and he's getting so good at tackling, at pressuring, at following players. And if we see the same from Carvalho, I mean, there shouldn't really be an issue of why those two cannot play together. But I'm actually a little more excited about seeing Arthur play in midfield. So I'm going to try to forget from trying to see Elliott and Carvalho and see how these do. Which, by the way, thank you everybody who's watching the video. I'm trying to pull as many comments up, but there's so many people getting involved. We're going to get to your questions, and everybody's trying to get into the Naby Keita stuff. We'll get to there soon. 73 viewers, subscribe.
Exactly. And also, yeah, we'll move on to the Napoli game now because going forward now, all we can do is focus on the games we got in the future because, yeah, we can't change what's happened. Yeah, we've dropped points, but when you look at it, we're only 6 points off the top of the table. The league's not gone, and Champions League, a ball hasn't even kicked yet, so there's no real reason to be negative. But yeah, going on to Arthur signing, obviously didn't make his debut against Everton, which was slightly surprising in my opinion. But Damon, what do you want to see from Arthur? Do you want to see him starting Wednesday? Because personally, I can't see any reason why you don't just go and start him, chuck him in the deep end and see what he can do for you.
Yeah, it's such a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, you want to bleed in a new player like slowly, but because we're so short of midfielders and the quality at the moment is it's quite terrible. It's terrible. I mean, like I said before the season, we can't rely on Carvalho and Elliott to really pick up the trees every time we need someone to. They're too young. They're they're going to be inconsistent at that age. They've been two of the best players for us this season, but we shouldn't have to rely on that. We need to start, people like Henderson need to start stepping up, and he ain't gonna. He's dropped off. So yeah, would I play Arthur? I'd give it a go because you can't do any better. We ain't got Thiago, so you might as well. I think it's sort of a free hit against Napoli. I think we'll beat Napoli. I do think we'll beat Napoli. They're a team that concede quite often. Am I correct? Yeah, but Arthur is a good player. It's a good player. It's a good load signing. It's a good panic signing, if you want to say it. But I think if we play him against Napoli, it's probably the perfect game to play him as well because that's where we bought him from. We bought him from Serie A, so he's used to that sort of game anyway. I'd give him a go. I really would give him a go. I think Carvalho didn't do anything amazing yesterday. I think he's been better off the bench. Elliott didn't even have a good game yesterday, which was shocking. But like I said, youngsters, breathing inconsistency. That's what youngsters do. That's why relying on these two youngsters is just so. It's quite negligent in a way because this club should have seen this. This club should have seen this before the season started. And yeah.
Can I ask you guys the question? Do you guys think this is correct? Do you guys? I mean, I'm definitely a club believer and whatnot, but do you guys think it's finally time to blame Klopp on this one? Is he being stubborn? Is he being stubborn with his tactics with the players? Do you guys agree with this?
I've been adamant about this. I think it is partly to blame Klopp. I think I give him 30% of the blame, and I give 70% to FSG. I think FSG. I've given him this sort of budget for years now, so he's got to work with this budget. But then again, he's got to be blamed for the substitutions he makes, his stubbornness, his continuous playing of like Henderson and Milner and Firmino when they've been poor. Honestly, especially Milner, I honestly think he's related to him somehow. I'm gonna go on Ancestry or something like ancestry.co.uk or something like that because I need to find out if Klopp is related to Milner at this point because honestly, he is. It is stubbornness, and it's stubbornness to another level with Klopp. Sometimes we don't want to hate on him. It's not hate, but it's criticism when he needs criticising. And I find it weird that some fans can't criticise him or criticise his players. It's a weird thing to go about, but we get them, don't you?
Those substitutions against Everton were absolutely just like, what were they? Like, Kostas Tsimikas, I'm sorry, but he was having a good game. He's playing better than how Andy Robertson's been playing all season, in my opinion. And taking him off even before the hour mark, like whenever Tsimikas has come on for Robertson, it's always been 70, 75 minutes. It's just favoritism at that point, really, isn't it? And you can't really put it down to anything more than that. So, and then Milner coming on for Trent. I understand how you're trying to rotate. I understand that, but is Milner right back in this sort of game? The way the game is going as well, in terms of it wasn't even like we needed someone to put a challenge in. I can understand if Milner started the game in midfield because you want someone to be up for it in the derby, but bringing him on where the game's kind of quieting down, we're getting hold of the ball, trying to make things happen, creating those chances towards the start of the second half. And yeah, it was like
it's like we accepted the draw, isn't it? It's like we accepted the draw, and that's what is that about?
It's craziness. Dan, what do you make of substitutions, and has that become a sort of recurring theme now under Jurgen Klopp?
Oh man, this is a thing since the very start, man. We've been complaining about club substitutions. In fact, if there's only one thing that we could all change from club, it would be the substitutions. The first years when we had club, the issue was that he was doing substitutions too late. He was making substitutions around minute 88, 85 for some reason. He would never do substitutions too early. But now the issue is that he's making substitutions based on his loyalty to players, or maybe based on his favoritism to players. I understand that it looks like he prefers players with leadership. That's why he sticks with Henderson. That's why he sticks with Milner. He also prefers attitude. That's why he sticks with Adam Lallana a lot. That's why he sticks with Roberto Firmino a lot. But he needs to be a little bit more harsh with the way that he criticizes players. I think Klopp is too nice. Klopp is too much of a human. He has too much of a good heart to the point where he cannot make black and white decisions based on who is performing well, who is not performing well. He really likes attitude a lot, So I don't think I think it's good, but I think that managers that end up putting that to the side end up winning more, the likes of Mourinho, the likes of Zidane, uh, Ancelotti. Just there's managers that, despite being very great with attitude, at the end of the day, if you perform better than others, you're starting. But with club, it's the other way around. If you have a great attitude, you would put 100% in energy in training. That's the player that's starting, and not the player that is going to win as the game. So I'm going to criticize him for that, of course, but I do think that he's always said this, and he's not the only person working behind the scenes. So this means that Pep Linders is also approving his request. The other management team, the statistical team, is telling him, man, you're right to play Milner. Hey, you're right to take out Tsimikas at minute something. So it's either that we're missing something, was either that the whole backroom management staff is just too loyal to these players. So, I don't know what it is, but I do not agree with it.
Yeah, the point you raised there is strange how the whole coaching staff, they are all, none of them are kind of raising it up with Klopp. Well, maybe we don't know, of course, something may be going on behind the scenes, and something kind of has felt kind of off for the last few weeks. So maybe that might be it. Who knows? I wouldn't rule it out at all. But yeah, Naby Keita, talking about attitude, he's been linked with a move away from the club for quite a few weeks. It came out saying, oh yeah, he wants to be a starter. He's been offered a new contract, but it was at the same terms as he was on before. And yeah, he's just turned it down and said, nah, I want a pay rise pretty much. Damo, Naby now, I'm just kind of at the point where I'm fed up and I'm just let him go. Cut our losses, which we haven't done. We're going to let him go on a free transfer by the looks of it, when we could have got money from him in the summer. It's just a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
It comes back to the summer transfer window again. The planning on it is just ridiculous. And, we saw this before with Ox and Naby. At the moment, they're just looking, what's the point in having them in the squad? I've said before so many times, and I've been called out for this, is Klopp, he speaks louder with his actions than in his words. He really does. Him not playing Ox last season, not putting him in the squad, tells you that he doesn't want him. But for some reason this summer, we've kept him. Why have we kept Ox?
Picked up an injury.
It absolutely baffles me. I don't even think they were looking to sell him. That baffles me completely. And there's no way that's Klopp. I honestly don't think that's Klopp, because Klopp put his cards down on the table last year and he said, I'm not picking Ox for this squad. He did it several occasions. And look now, he's not picking Keita or Ox for the Champions League. He's saying there, I don't want these two. That's what he's saying. As simple as that. If they're not going to get Champions League squad over youngsters, these youngsters that are coming through, then it doesn't seem in the first team eyes. Why we still got them? They should have been sold on this summer. And that's
don't we also submit a different Champions League squad in January as well? So maybe this means that these two players are just maybe out for four months, so we will not see them until January. Or maybe Damon has a point too. It could be either or.
I'd be very shocked to see any of these in the Champions League squad. I think only Keita could probably push in if he came back and started playing like he can. But Ox is nowhere near that Champions League squad.
So I think the whole Champions League games run over 5 weeks. So this squad is just for 5 weeks' time. But it is still frustrating because with Keita, it was oh yeah, it'll take a while. But now we're basically seeing that it's going to be over 5 weeks that he's going to be out for. Or if not, then he's not going to be in training until about 3-4, which is just kind of it's frustrating. And the fact that we're not getting told this and there's so much uncertainty just kind of rubs salt in the wounds, isn't it?
Do you guys think he's injured as much as they say? Or do you think he just don't want to play for us now?
LFC is speculation room, huh? I'm gonna be honest. Damon does have a point. The only reason I'm actually backing Damon on this is because, one, there's not too much information regarding Naby Keita's injury. That's one. Klopp is not giving too much info on it. And two, if you guys have been keeping an eye on Twitter and what the Sky Sports Germany journalist Florian Plettenberg said recently. He came out with the news that Naby Keita was trying to move out. Immediately after, the Liverpool Echo and all these local sources started saying there's no issue with Keita, there's no issue with his contract, everything is good. And I remember that Florian Plettenberg said, we'll see. Like, we'll see who's right. And as soon as he said this, boom, Naby Keita injured. Boom, Naby Keita out for so many months. So one thing you guys also have to keep in mind is that Plettenberg is a really, really reliable reporter. And he seems very confident with this information. So I don't want to speculate too much, but I do think that Damon does have a point. The fact that there's not much information on his injury as well, maybe it's true. But I mean, the thing is, has Klopp or have we not played Keita enough? He's given him as many chances as he's been able to play. So why wouldn't you want to play for Liverpool? I mean, I just don't understand. Like, when you're fit, you play. The issue is that you're not fit. I mean, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know why wouldn't he play with us?
Problem as well is that even if he is, let's say it is true that he's having this problem, actually doesn't want to be at the club. Like, it just doesn't make any sense at all to me, because over the last few weeks we've had all this crisis in midfield with all these injuries. He could have gone into the side, Old Trafford, Man United. He pulled out of that one. He could have gone in, starting 11, proved himself, and then be in the team then and have a good run. So I just really don't understand why he would do that. Maybe it's bigger things. Maybe there's problems with an agent, just wants bigger wage, and he's just throwing the toys out the pram. But it would be, you've heard it here first. Naby Keita, he doesn't want to train. I'm only joking, but it's and then Oxlade-Chamberlain. Where do we even start with him? Just injury. I've never seen a player ridiculed and just had the entire career just wasted by injuries. It's actually sad to see, because I don't know if you guys remember January 2018 until April, May, that sort of time. He was unbelievable. He was just a different player, and it's sad to see that player's sadly gone, Damon, isn't it? And he hasn't been anywhere at that level.
He had so much potential in him. That's what's so sad. I think he wanted to be a centre midfielder, didn't he, at Arsenal? But they didn't see it in him, and then Klopp sort of gave him that chance, and it showed that what he could do at times. And then once he got that first injury, that's it, and he hadn't been the same since. To be honest, he hadn't been that Oxlade-Chamberlain we bought. I can't understand why we still got him. I understand. I can't understand it. The only thing I can think is the fact that we're not getting enough money for him. I think we did it with Riga last season. We wanted, I think it was 20 million for Riga last season.
20 million.
And I think someone was offering like 15. They were like, no, we want 20, It's like, just accept the 15. And I think they're going to do the same with Ox. I think someone might have offered like 10 or something. And we want more. But just admit we're wrong here. Accept a little windfall and just go out and pay some money for a better player. We can't be sell to buy all the time. We shouldn't have to sell. We shouldn't need Michael Edwards to sell someone that's terrible for 20, 30 million. He got 24 million for Ryan Brewster. We should never be getting that. We're sort of paying that now where Michael Edwards isn't here. We're seeing that, because if Michael Edwards was still here, I think we've got to got 20 million for Ox this season. Easy.
Having said that though, Nat Phillips last season, we wanted like 15 million for him. I think they're offering like 10, a team was, if I remember correctly. And we said, no, we're not doing that. And now he's probably
exactly that. They just want every single little bit of money. They don't understand, the reality of it all. Nat Phillips is not 15 million worth. Ariga at the time wasn't 20 million worth. We've got to accept to move on and start putting our own money in these transfers. We shouldn't have to sell to buy. That's what it is. They want to get as much money as they can from the Ox to sell or a Keita to sell, that they can go out and get someone else. Because if they get like 15 million for Ox, they'll say, we're not putting 15 million towards. This is what it comes down to. Look at Nunez, has gone to Wolves. He's been unbelievable these last 2 games for Wolves. Unbelievable. I don't know if you've watched him, but he's been outstanding. And if he don't improve our midfield, then I don't know who's in charge of these transfers or who's scouting these players, because he improves these players tenfold, and there's no way I'm being told otherwise. So it's about time we start saying goodbye Ox, goodbye Keita, goodbye. These players that are just holding us back. They're holding us back, and we can't see that they're holding us back. And You wonder why we're not progressing anywhere. We're keeping the same players for 10 years. It don't work out like that, unfortunately, in sport.
Also, just
think
now, the Liverpool Twitter account just posted that they're going to be coming up with something. I mean, they're hinting at something. And so they put in the little ice emojis, and they're saying that they're going to be announcing something on September 5th. I don't know if it's a third kit or not. They really haven't. It doesn't look like a third kit because it's just a bunch of flags of Liverpool. So I mean, keep an eye on that. Hopefully, it's new.
Is it a new laptop? Is it a new laptop? It's got to be a new laptop.
That looks like a new kit. From the end of the video, I think, where it says 8 o'clock BST, I got a funny feeling that's going to be the third kit. The cheek of it, though. The absolute cheek. They don't care, do they?
Maybe it's a free agent.
Stop signing.
Free agent.
Can the new kit play in midfield on Saturday?
Oh, by the way, 100 people are watching the stream, guys. Please subscribe. I mean, that's great. And everybody keeps getting engaged in the comments. Ask your questions, and Owen will bring them up.
Definitely. Dan, we've been talking about this, the transfer policy and the recruitment. What's your take on this? Do you think it's time for a change?
Oh, man, I don't know. Honestly, it seems to be working. But because really, the only way that you can blame the transfer recruitment team, or I mean, heck, even the owners, is if we're not getting any titles at all. But season after season, we keep getting titles, and obviously, even though they're not the ones that we want, I mean, we keep getting titles. So in their eyes, on paper, it's working. But this is not where we want to be. I think here's the issue: FSG are good for Liverpool, but they're not good enough to where we want to be. You know?
Do you think we've outgrown them, Dan? Do you think we've outgrown them?
Do I feel what?
We've outgrown them.
I think we have. I think we have tested how far they can take us, and it seems like this is it. They're good. I mean, they're a good ownership group for any team in the world that needs revamping. But once you're already revamped, you need an ownership team or an ownership group that can just take you to the next level by spending. That's what I was arguing with some fans on Twitter the other day.
That is harsh.
Is that runner or manager? No. I feel like Klopp, with the right backing, he's going to be the best manager in the world. If it's similar to Zidane. I don't think Zidane is the best manager in the world. A lot of Real Madrid fans think he is. But again, he has the backing. He had the money. If you give the same backing to Jurgen Klopp, he's going to deliver the same things. So I was telling you guys, I was arguing with some Twitter fans the other day. I was like, we need to take the next step and go to the next level. And everybody was like, what is the next level? We already won the Champions League, the Premier League. We're one of the best teams in the world. But the next level is to stay at the top, to not having to depend on these fringe players, on these injuries and things like that. So I think that's why we need a different group. No hate to FSG. They're great. If you don't think that FSG have been great to Liverpool, then you're just cynical. But again, we just need a different ownership group that can just keep us at the top or just take us to the next level.
Yeah, I think that you've summed that up perfectly there, where FSG have practically saved us from a liquidation, from going under. I think we have to remember that. So yeah, when we could shout FSG out and all that, of course, but in reality, they've done good things for the club. They're by no means perfect. They've tried to trademark the Liverpool name. £77 for price at Anfield, the furlough and staff during COVID, the Super League. There's quite a few things, but yeah, I think when you look at it on the whole, you have to weigh it up and think, yeah, what is we need? And yeah, I was thinking about this the other day actually, with the sort of how much Klopp is backed, because I was watching Man City play, and they're just so dominant, aren't they, on the ball? You see teams, they just don't really go near them. They're so relentless, Man City, in the sort of final third as well. They pin teams in. And I was thinking, imagine if we had Pep Guardiola as manager, would we be seeing this? And I thought, well, hang on a second. You look at their team. They brought in £60 million Rodri. Would FSG have done that? No. They've got Diaz in defence. How much? 65 million again? Would that have happened with Klopp? Well, they brought in Virgil van Dijk, to be fair, for 75. But you're not getting...
The difference is Pep sees a problem and they fix it straight away. They don't wait around. This saw a problem with the striker last season. Go get Ireland. There you go. Here's your money. Go get Ireland. It's not that much. We don't need 100 million here and there. We don't need 200 million for a player. Here's your money. Go get him. We could have done that this season. We could have gone Barella for what? 60, 70 million. We could have got Barella. I'd say about 67 million. I know Bellingham is 120 and he might come next season, but Barella would have, if that was City, City would have gone, here you go, 60 million, go get Barella. You clearly need that position fixed. Instead, we're putting plasters over a hole, and at the end, it's going to burst at some point.
I think Akanji, signing him from Dortmund, that kind of summed it all up, the difference between Liverpool, Man City and recruitment. Because there's absolutely no way we get an injury to Nathan Ake, who I think it was, he got an injury, wasn't it? I believe so. But there's absolutely no way we get an injury to like Joel Matip or Ibrahim Konate. We just go, oh yeah, sign in midfield, sign in centre half like that, and just have someone lined up perfectly waiting. There's absolutely just no way. And we've seen it in 2020, didn't we, when we had that crisis? But yeah, moving on to the game on Wednesday, because we can talk about that. It doesn't have to be all about transfers, even though we are the transfer room, of course. But what are you expecting from the game? Are you expecting us to go and kind of be more dominant? Because we've struggled to kind of get that intensity up, haven't we, Dan, in recent weeks?
Yeah, I'm also going to try to be a little bit more positive. I know we've been very negative towards the whole situation. The comments as well are going off on the ownership on Klopp too. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more positive. I expect a win. I expect a great performance on Wednesday. The only thing that is actually getting in the back of my mind is the fact that Napoli are currently in great form. If you guys go check out the Serie A table, who's in first place? It's Napoli right now. Obviously, they're sharing first place with a few other teams, but they won the last game. Their upcoming game after Liverpool, I think, is against a small team called Spezia or something like that, which are like on 14th place. So they're in a comfortable situation. They're doing incredibly well. They have momentum on their way. They don't have many injuries. I think they only have one injury in midfield for someone that is not even a starter. I think it's Dam, the former RB Leipzig player, the defensive midfielder or something like that. Anyways, the only thing that is worrying me is them, but I think we're going to go all out. We're going to do incredibly well. I hope I see Arthur and Thiago, maybe a cameo for a few minutes. But against a team that is a little bit weaker than your regular Premier League sides, I feel like we're going to see a fantastic show from Darwin Nunez, from Luis Diaz, from Harvey Elliott if he plays. So I'm confident we're going to see a better Liverpool side, because if we don't, it's going to be a lot of backlash, let me say.
Absolutely, as always, to be fair. But any surprise players in there that you'd like to see? I'm trying to think who would kind of be a shock to see and is realistic at the same time. Maybe see Fabio Carvalho again, although obviously went off with a dead leg, but it's quite cool to see him when in that sort of attacking role.
I think we need to get out of Napoli. I do. I think they're suspect at the back, if I'm honest. Losing Koulibaly is a big one as well, because he's that presence in that centre half position, and last time we played him, Salah made mincemeat out of him and out of Koulibaly personally, and I think we could easily do that again if we really attack him from the start. I think we haven't been starting well, and with what we've conceded like 7 out of the last 9 games first. That's not good enough. And this Klopp team that are used to pressing from the start and high energy from the start. I think I saw a stat the weekend. I mentioned it in the chat, didn't I, about Liverpool being outrun near enough every game this season. That's not Liverpool. I know we have the ball most times, but this team is known for running, known for energy, known for pressing every single time they don't have the ball. Known for that. That's why we became the top 2 teams in the league, because of our energy and the way we play from the front. And this is what we need to see now against Napoli, because Napoli, like I said, are suspect at the back, and we can really hurt these early on. They're brilliant going forward. They've got some brilliant players like Lozano. It'd be interesting to watch him this week, because Lozano is definitely a player that I kind of like, to be honest. I don't mind him coming to Liverpool at some point, but he's a brilliant player. So I won't mind seeing him against other teams, but against Liverpool, it's a different we need to be on it in terms of defence. But the best sign of defence is attack, and the way we attack on Wednesday, I think will say a lot for the next couple of weeks, because we need to come out of the blocks and we need to start getting that early goal, being the team to score first, like we was 2 years ago. Because we ain't that anymore, and it's a shame to see, in it really, that we're not that pressing team anymore. That Jurgen Klopp really made us into. That's what we are. That's what Liverpool FC are, and we need to see that on Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely. Lozano, absolute talent. He's done wonders for the Mexican national team over the past few years. So I'm very wary of him, and Victor Osimhen as well. He's absolutely brilliant, like a brilliant finisher. So if we give him chances like we did against Everton, you can guarantee that we're going to be a couple of goals down. Like, I'm sorry, but that's the reality. But for our forwards, Nunez, Firmino, who do we go with? There's options there.
You read my mind, Owen. I'm actually going to go with you first. Like, who do you choose? Jota, Firmino, or Nunez to start against Napoli?
I never thought I'd say this, but I'd go Bobby Firmino. I just think Nunez, he's had one game back. You start him at the weekend against Wolves, but Bobby Firmino, he's been good the last couple of games. Start him this one. I presume you disagree by the reaction.
Shoot, man. I mean, I don't know. Bobby has been doing so good lately, but it's not like I've seen him be like a massive difference to the game. All I see him do is really just finish shots. I'm not gonna say lucky assists because they're not lucky, but I feel like there's gonna be different players that can give like different impacts. I will go personally with Diogo Jota. I feel like this is the perfect game for him to take the step back from his injury, get used to the whole situation around the team. I don't think Nunez is gonna be ready yet. I'm gonna think that there's gonna be a point where Bobby is not gonna be offering enough. I will go with Jota. I don't know who Damon would choose. Damon, who do you choose?
We're quite spoiled, aren't we, in a way, with those three? I mean, brilliant options to pick, but yeah, I'm going to make it 1 out of 3. I'm going to go Nunez, just because there's a player in him. There is goals in him. I think he just needs that kick start. And I know he got a goal before he got suspended, but that suspension really sort of altered that sort of momentum for him. And yesterday, he sort of looked like scoring again. I think he felt it, but
it was this close.
I don't think it helped him, the performances around him. I don't think Salah was up to it. I don't think Carvalho and Elliott was up to it yesterday. If everyone's on it and Nunez plays, I think he can get a goal or 2 against Napoli, honestly.
I think I've got the perfect solution, actually. They could work really, really well. With Fabio Carvalho out, by the looks of it, things, start Boy Firmino just behind Darwin Nunez, like we did against Everton. And that worked fairly well, I thought, when Firmino came on. So that's an idea that we could go with. Dan, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think maybe a 4-2-3-1 system is on the cards?
No, I doubt. I feel like Klopp because I was seeing a lot of people on the comments from the game against Everton. They were saying that the Klopp actually tried that 4-2-3-1 against Everton for a few moments. And after seeing that it really didn't work, I doubt that we'll see Firmino as a 10 at all, or Carvalho, who's too young. I would love to. I feel like our future needs to rely on a 2-man midfield or a pivot, because we're so accustomed to this midfield 3 that is just, we're not revolutionizing, we're not switching, we don't have a plan B. I think I would agree with you, and I would say we need that. I doubt it's going to happen though. So I would love to see it. I think I will counterattack. I will counter your opinion, and I would say instead of a 4-2-3-1, I think we need to move to a 4-4-2, to a 4-4 or a 4-2-2-2, whatever you want to call it. I want to have a 2-man midfield, yes, but I would love to see Nunez next to a mobile striker such as Diogo Jota or Bobby Firmino, or Luis Diaz on the left with a Salah on the right, and I can already see everybody saying, who's going to cover Trent? Who's going to cover Trent? Man, there's so many teams that play a 4-4-2. I mean, we can get Fabinho to start covering Trent on the right, or maybe Arthur. We cannot start relying on that 4-3-3 and saying who's going to cover Trent every single time. we need to adapt. And I think we need to start putting all the forwards in the front and just maybe changing the way that our midfield play. Make sure we have a solid 2 in the middle of the park. But yeah.
It's a good idea for sure. Wouldn't be opposed to the way we're playing at the minute. And yeah, Trent, people say, oh yeah, you can only play in Liverpool system. You've seen him with England, he's not been the same. David, is that true?
He didn't get played for England. He didn't get played for England. When he has played for England, he's done all right. So I wouldn't trust Trent in a Southgate formation anyway. The guy plays 5 at the back with that attacking quality. It's just embarrassing in Southgate. So I hope Trent don't go to World Cup. If I'm honest, it just wastes his legs, wastes his time. So yeah, I think Trent's ruined with England. But regarding Liverpool, he's not been on it, has he, in the last few games? I think the whole right hand side with him and Salah have just been. It's weird to see them play this bad, really, with Salah and Trent. They've been at it for 5-6 years, that consistency of brilliance. And they'll have one bad game every now and then, but not a couple and 3 in a row of bad games, which is quite strange to see. And I don't know what that's down to. I don't know. Is that down to the constant change in midfield? Because, that midfield is so important to that right-hand side. Because obviously you need your cover for Trent, like you keep saying. And then you Salah, you link up. You got Harvey Elliott that is doing all he can, but he's a young lad, and it comes down to Jurgen Klopp again. I think it comes down to Jurgen Klopp for that and tactics. I think it's up to him now to really step back and see that his tactics aren't working, and he needs, like Dan said, he needs a plan B. We can't keep relying on those 3 workhorse midfielders. We need to start getting in those spaces in the number 10 area, and start exploiting them. Because when we come against low blocks teams, we can't exploit them. We're just passing, and we're going out wide, and we're crossing it in. It's getting headed out. Going out wide again, crossing it in, getting headed out. It's the same thing over and over again. We need someone that can play in that number 10 role, that's going to open up space for Nunez and Salah to run in, and Diaz to run in. Because with no space, you're not going to get anywhere. These teams laugh at us that play the system, because they're like, we can do this all day. I would go back to that Tottenham game last year where we just pinged the ball in several times and we just headed out. They're like, we could play this all day. Conte, he just put his feet up and said, this is all right, this is how I want Liverpool to play against us. And the way Man City do it is they have De Bruyne and they'll have someone like Bernardo Silva, and they'll both attack. And they're like, which one do we mark? And then that leaves, obviously, your wingers free and you Haaland free. And this is what Jurgen Klopp needs to start doing now. The reason why Alex Ferguson was able to win again in the 1996, then again in 2011, is because he constantly changed with the times, and he knew when he had to change the way he plays. You can't play with the same way for years and years; it don't work, and that's where Klopp needs to come in.
It was partly that, and also paying the refs off before the game as well. I had a big.
Well, yeah. We've seen it today. Don't get me started with my night and the referees. Do not get me started. I could be on here for 10 minutes ranting about that. Don't get me started.
But yeah, Klopp, plan A, plan B. I think he said in the past, he's like best. No, he doesn't have a plan B. What he does is just improve plan A. I think that's a quote he's said recently. Something like that. But then it's really weird though, because then it's like you can't drop Luis Diaz really, you can't drop Mohamed Salah, so your options are somewhat limited. Dan, are Salah and Luis Diaz, are they both undroppable, do you think?
I mean, the only reason they are is because we have really no wingers in the team. And people are going to say we have Carvalho, we have Elliott. They're not wingers, man. As much as you would love them to be wingers, they're not. I feel like Carvalho is more of an offensive midfielder. Same with Elliott. I know Elliott used to be more of a natural winger, but Club has proved to us that he's better as a midfielder. So the only reason they're undroppable is because we have no wingers. And Judge is not a winger. Judge is a striker that can play on the wing, but is not a winger. So yeah, you're right. But the only reason that you're right is because we have no wingers. The only thing that we have is versatile players that can play on the wing. So that's the reason that we cannot drop Luis Diaz or Salah. Not that I would want them to be dropped, but in the case that we maybe have Mane on the team, we would be probably considering bringing in Mane for either Salah or Diaz, whoever's form is down, you know. But we're at a point where there's nothing we can do, really. I mean, we don't even have Minamino in the team to be like, maybe we can bring Minamino in the wing. We don't even have Origi in the team too, so we can be like, maybe we can bring Origi in the team. We have no options. I mean, I just finally find it very baffling the fact that we just brought one forward and no wingers other than Luis Diaz in January. I mean, this is going to be a discussion for another day, but it's been one of the most negative streams that we had. But it's a very interesting one, you know. There's a lot of things that need improvement. It was not just about the midfield. You guys have brought up another issue, which is the forward line. We have no winger options up front. We just have different players that can play there. But yeah, we'll see what happens. At the moment, Diaz and Salah are the only way that we can move forward.
Diogo Jota as well could play on the left, potentially an option going forward. But yeah, we'll wrap up there. Thanks to everyone who's joined today, because yeah, we've had absolutely loads of people joining and commenting. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. We'd love to see it. So yeah, big thanks for that. And as you said earlier on, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. But yeah, I think that wraps it today. And yeah, come on the Reds. Let's get our first Champions League win on Wednesday and get up to a perfect start. See you in a bit.